Hello everyone, and welcome to Dead Internet Chronicles, where I observe and react to what I perceive to be a complex collection of chatbot chaos. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe so that the algorithm can help me grow my channel. Please do be aware that the themes discussed in this video may be dark and unconventional, and my narration is not explicitly an endorsement. That being said, let's get started. And today we are going to be looking at some paranormal memes. These are posted on the paranormal board on 4chan, which is one of my favorite boards. It's safe for work, so you don't have to worry about, porn popping up on your screen. Which, at my place of employment, 4chan is blocked, so I wouldn't be getting on 4chan on my computer anyway. But that's beside the point. And before we get started, I will say it's been a while since I uploaded a video. I've been busy in my personal life, and my laptop also pooped out on me. So for the longest time, I was unable to record anything, and I just didn't have the time to record anything. But I eventually got a new laptop, as you can tell by my Windows operating system, and I think it's going to be fun to get back into it. I have been uploading some short stories that I've written. They haven't really gone anywhere, but I realize that I think that this series is probably my best bet to make good, original, interesting content. So, I'm going to go ahead and start reading and looking at these memes, and I hope they're funny. I really, truly do. But before I do that, I think I might change the settings on this real quick and see if we can use image expansion. It's already good. Look at that. So this says, "Why so serious? Life is just a dream. Take it easy." And then we've got one that says, "X memes. The cat is on the table is the most accurate esoteric statement. Average X user. How do I invoke succubus?" That one's funny because that seems to be what a lot of X users want to do, is invoke a succubus, which, I can understand that because for a very long time I was a lonely 4chan nerd. And I still am a 4chan nerd, I'm just not as lonely anymore. Thankfully. But you never know. Things could go awry and I could be back to square one. In which case I would be back on 4chan, just killing time. So this one says, "Really, there are actual Magus users on X?" And then the other astronaut says, "Always have been." And he's got an Ohio flag. I don't know what the purpose of that is, but there's an Ohio flag on his arm. I only know that because I'm very close to Ohio. Here's a picture of Bernie, and it says, "I am once again asking you to enjoy the effing simulation." Yeah, I gotta start doing that myself. It's a good idea, just enjoy the simulation, because it really all is just a simulation. In some way or another. There are parameters to the universe, and there are lines of code written somewhere. This one says, "Talk no blank. Skilled black magicians and skilled white magicians." I don't get it. "We need some positiveness on X. Any ideas?" Maybe memes. and they throw him out the window. Poor guy, he was just trying to help, and they threw him out the window. Damn. This one's Giorgio Tsoukalos, and it says remote viewers. I don't get that one because I've never gotten into remote viewing. It's always been something that I've been mildly curious about, but I've never actually gotten into it because I don't really know truly what it is. Is it kind of like astral projection? I haven't gotten into that either, but I hear it's similar. I think. I could be wrong. So this one says, oh look, they're using my digitalized esoteric researches to sacrifice children. Here's a kitten that says, me studying all these man-made horrors so they are no longer beyond my comprehension. Here's Shaq sleeping, and it's the Nobody General, and it says, I sleep. And then it says, the cat is on the table, and he says, real blank. This one's too long. I'm not going to read that. This one's just a picture of somebody on a roller coaster. Oh, it's X. That's the guy. That's the paranormal board, which is pretty accurate, honestly. I think so. Dimethyltryptamine strips programming and illusions. You know, I've never done it. I never have, and it's always been a curiosity of mine. But at this point in my life, I feel like it's too far out of reach. Like, I don't want to die doing that. And it just, whenever I do psychedelics, I always think that I'm gonna die. And it's just not very good. It's not a good thing to do, in my opinion. For me, for other people it might be, but in my opinion, I just cannot deal with it. So here we've got a man trying to Triforce. He's trying to make the Triforce, and of course we all know that new friends cannot Triforce. So here we have a group of, looks like teenagers or young adults, and we've got one that has 3 girls and one that has no girls. And that's X. That's pretty accurate. That's more accurate. They've got the tulpas and the succubi, and they're just chilling with their imaginary friends. The 37-year-old nudicer. My gut says that's made up. Has been accused of being on every quadrant of the political axis at least once. Doesn't get outraged anymore, just notices. On the ADL's most wanted list. A funny thing I noticed is ... Inexplicably not demoralized by all the noticing. Can correctly identify someone's heritage just from the shape of their face. Views nothing in good faith anymore. Everything is fake until proven gay. Has been noticing things for so long, nothing is surprising anymore. That's funny. This says before X, and we've got a young... Is that Ron Howard? I don't know. And then after X, and he's dressed out like a culture that is probably not his. You say what you want about it. Then we've got 4chan, and it's a bunch of... Are those bugs? That is disgusting if those are a bunch of bugs. But I don't know what else they could be. Why is the ground breathing? This one says WTF, before X, and then also before X, time travel is impossible. Whoa. That was trippy. Me, a schizophrenic. To actively integrate you in the society, we need you to commit a crime that we would cover to eventually blackmail you, Bob. Yes, Bob, you gotta burn those children, Bob. That one's dark. So here we've got, I don't know, oh, there, it's a bunch of teenage girls, and then X in the back corner just watching menacingly, waiting for his chance to strike. Every single one of your ancestors got laid before they died. That's true. Every single one of them did. That's crazy. I don't want to look at that one. Blank being an individual, all my homies contort and slither eternally in the warmth of the united flesh. Paranormal text, past and present. And it's Goosebumps. It's the Goosebumps girl. That's great. We're going to skip past this one because it's just a girl with big breasts. And we don't want to look at that. What my friends think I do. What my mom thinks I do. What I think I do. What society thinks I do. And what I really do. That format's kind of outdated. I don't really think it's funny anymore. Kramer, what's going on in there? I feel like something bad is going to happen to me, Jerry. I feel like something bad has happened. It hasn't reached me yet, but it's on its way. Jerry, the Kramer spider isn't real. It can't hurt you. Hideous screeching. Hideous screeching. Hideous screeching. God, that's disturbing. So here we've got somebody that has typed out a long post. And it says, God has so many torture methods. One of them is to put his ghost fingers into your eyes and leave them there. The unfairness of not being able to stop him because he's a ghost basically compresses the inside of your head. It's insanely distracting because you can't even see clearly anymore. You can't close your eyes. You can't hear sounds anymore or see things because there is a list of priorities in your brain's ability to comprehend things. And when you have fingers being poked into your eyes, all your brain can think about is getting them out. But they're ghost fingers, and he will leave them in there for hours. And I roll around screaming and crying. He's talking to me while I write this. I bought a lighter, and it has a flood on it. I'm so scared he's even selling the lighters at the store. He's torturing me. Somebody stop him. Huh. That's a schizo post if I ever seen one. I mean, let's be real here. I don't know what that dude's on about. I truly don't. So here we've got a 5G horse. A horse made of 5G energy has been appearing on our lawn and staring at our home. Worry for family. We are not vaccinated. Whoa. And then this anon says, You gotta rise above the pain, body. I really don't get this one. When aliens see humans using salvia and DMT to hop dimensions, this is the most ghetto shit I've ever seen in my life. That's true. So this anon says, You will never suffer less. Life is about getting used to the pain. Demons can't be killed, but they can be kicked out or work for you. Anyway, this is a humoristic thread. Take it easy. This says, hey everybody, it's me, Big Money Dog. That person in the mirror isn't you, but you already knew that, didn't you? Their movements are sometimes a split second behind yours. Their clothes slightly off in color or fit. Their teeth a little, and then it cuts off. Spooky. This says, it was a dream, but these crackers be putting pain receptors in this blank. And then this anon says, I don't think you understand, it's actually just some blank putting his fingers into my eyes. It's exactly the same as if I were to poke my fingers into your eyes, except he's doing it with a ghost. He's talking to me while I write this. It's hard to know for sure if you're real anymore. So back to the memes, this one says, I should have never activated my pineal gland. Now I'm experiencing an archetypal reality beyond the confines of language. This one says, train to your candy. And this one says, yeah, you don't get it either. Imagine if I was a ghost and I put my fingers into your eyes and left them there. That's literally what's happening. Another one of his torture methods is to deny you pleasure. Aside from the obvious stuff like sex and money, he takes away the opportunity to lay in bed in the morning. He literally wakes me up every morning by grinding a rock into my skull and blanking me. It's been 5 years. He ruins any type of joy I might feel in discovery. If he catches me about to feel joy from hearing the sound of the rain, he compresses my head and rapes me. And blanks me. I'm being tortured. This anon says to another anon, Kek, good one. And then this one says, I missed your post, bro. It's been a while since I seen you. And then this person says, suffer, you must. This anon replies back to this post and says, my shirt has fire and hot sauce emojis on it, and my lighter has a picture of a flood. My backpack has a logo that is the Eye of Horus. I didn't do any of this intentionally. I'm so nervous. He has been blanking me and controlling what I wear. I'm so scared. He has been blanking me. This anon says to that, oh, I understand, anon. I know what you are. You suffer constant torture to be the baseline suffering of the entire collective human consciousness, the kind by which suffering is measured. When you rise above it, raises humanity for some reason or another. That's why I call you Pain Body. And it was this picture. What's the deal with the suffering, the sweet, sweet suffering? Is it really necessary? And then this says, man again, this is a humoristic thread and you're crying like a blank. Go somewhere else. Posting on a meme thread about your psychological discomfort towards the meaning of life is not only off topic, but is also the very same thing you cry about, denying pleasure. Wash your teeth and make your bed. So now we've got Walter White, and it says, atheists when they die and end up in hell instead of ending up in science. Here we've got some Pepe's, and it says, in case of emergency, break glass. I don't really get it. Sorry, guys. Depressed ex-users exploiting meme threads to fish psychiatric advice. Memers. Alright, I'm a head out. Yeah, it's pretty accurate with this thread, to be honest with you. Hey kiddo, bad news. That vape in your room tastes like burnt horse blank. It must be busted. Also, the house is haunted. Halloween is every day of the year if you are a magician, tantrika, or some other kind of freak. True story. This is a news headline that says a massive object devastated Uranus a long time ago and it never fully recovered. That one's funny. This one's a spooky one. It says, me filling the room with negative energy to harm the empaths. Can't do that one because it's very problematic. I don't want to do all these. So we're going to move on. This says, why are serial killers not really a thing anymore? If you look at famous serial killers, it's mostly 20th century and some from before that, but I don't know any 21st century serial killers. They have been replaced with mass shooters. It's not just in America either. It's like this in most countries. I looked it up. Is there a paranormal reason for that? And then someone says, you need talent, planning, and the ability to get away. Not much of a serial killer when you get caught 1 to 2 stabs in. Most modern people just simply don't have the attention span, skill, or patience. A lot easier to just buy an auto and click on a crowd like a blank. Same reason why no one is making classical music, great art, or cool cathedrals. And then this person says, I think it might have to do with certain countries and specific circumstances. Also, intelligence agencies setting up certain people and not all serial killers being legit. This post says, in 2021, only 51% of homicides were solved, according to FBI statistics analyzed by the Murder Accountability Project. And it has a link. It says, they're still definitely around. Police just don't give a blank about most murder cases and are more concerned with their clearance rates than actually solving crimes. That's a good point. This anon says, cameras everywhere. That's also a good point. And then that was expanded on in the next post that said, surveillance everywhere. Everyone has a phone. Phones can be tracked. The internet is a pacifier for any would-be serial killer who could easily satisfy their morbid curiosity with gore videos and other extreme content. Also a very good point. C. Crimes being suddenly too hard to get away with definitely isn't the explanation when nearly half of all murders go unsolved. Someone replied to OP and said, they're boring, and your government would rather be the ones in charge of the mass panic and fear events. And they emitted a YouTube video, which I'm not going to watch. Because cop shows are liars, and they don't actually catch killers every single day. Advances in forensics and technology make it really hard to pull off killing a dozen people over the course of 4 or 5 years. Jack the Ripper didn't have to worry about DNA. Ted Bundy didn't have to worry about his chosen targets, pretty college-age girls all walking around with HD camera-equipped phones. I remember reading an article a couple of years ago about how if you look at changing crime rates, you see an interesting phenomenon. The decline in active serial killers in the US was apparently a mirror image of the increase in mass shooters. The hypothesis being would-be serial killers realize they can't pull off that kind of blank anymore, so they just grab an AR-15 and head down to a crowded movie theater or something. Serial killers never existed. They were invented by post-industrial constables and sheriff's departments to account for a mass solving of the high murder rate as to not make the law enforcement groups look bad. You can drop your homicide rate by a solid 20 to 30% if you just say one person did it all. It's pretty obvious. The ones that exist now are only here due to government training and pre-assigned hits. Never forget the governments of the world are just mafias that recognize one another out of respect and operate no different than a mafia. It's very thought-provoking content we're looking at here. Very thought-provoking. Someone said this to this post, it looks like. Says the freaks are out there, but getting away with the murder again and again became more difficult now that everyone is under surveillance all the time. You'd have to maintain a life beyond suspicion and only get targets of opportunity without a clear pattern. It's hard and not what the average serial killer, if there is such a thing, is really after. I don't know what that sentence means. This one quoted and said, same reason why no one is making classical music, great art, or cool cathedrals. And they said, way more musicians now, though. And this one says, there are literally zero Zoomer musicians. Let me speak again. There are literally zero Zoomer musicians with talent. That's sure to anger quite a few people. Because there's effing cameras everywhere. Everyone is carrying a spying suite in their pocket, and every car is linked to satellite with a primed auto shutdown. Probably because it was always fake and gay. They need to make souls believe they can be harmed before they can be harmed. So they put on shows, they fake serial killers and horrible things in the world because it makes people think, oh my gosh, that could happen to me too, oh no. It makes them believe in a reality where they can be harmed, thus pulling them into it. All the world's a stage. Interesting. There's way more flies on poop than there are lions. Statistics said somewhere that they're all drug dealers now. Equating spree killers to serial killers seems odd, given the history of psychological literature. Serial killers have a ritualistic pattern where everything builds to and contracts from a single killing, whereas spree killers, including mass shooters, can just be having a bad day. That's reductionist, I know, but so is saying spree killers are just frustrated serial killers without any appreciation for their unique psychology. Like, do we really think that Ted Bundy or John Wayne Gacy would have killed rooms full of people if they had to wait too long? If you want to diminish serial killing, I'd reckon it might lie in seemingly single-time killers who get caught rather than spree killers. Quality over quantity, my friend. To reply to this post. And then as a reply to this post about talent, it says, OP also has to take into account the events after 9/11 with the Patriot Act, the catalyst of which enabled heavy surveillance followed by what Anon mentions with a low attention span and antisocial behavior. This person says, because the feds switched to spree shootings. And this Anon says, serial killers still exist, the media just doesn't report on them anymore. That's probably true, honestly. Mass shootings are all the rage, not serial killers. As a reply to OP, this Anon says, they are still a thing, they might be bigger than ever. You don't hear about it because it's not currently being sensationalized in the news. Also, in many cases, it's counterproductive to police work for the news to be reporting on it. Just Google it. Pick a random area and search for unsolved murders. Connect the dots yourself. Pick a random method of killing and Google it. You'll start to see similarities. I make content on this stuff, so I'm looking it up frequently. Also, the supply chain industry is the largest growing industry on the planet right now. From corporate to independent, there are guys constantly moving from state to state. Just the type of guys that fit the MO of a serial killer. That's disturbing. There definitely are, there's just a larger proportion of garbage that sells better. Be honest, do you actually look for good Zoomer musicians, or just see the blanky ones that get forced in society's face? Music is a rigged game. You have to know people to make it in music. That's a known fact. There are a lot of active serial killers in the US today, you moron. The psychological makeup of the two are different. A serial killer wouldn't get much gratification from mowing down a room full of people. it wouldn't appeal to them and they wouldn't do it. They would rather not commit the crime at all just to continue in their fantasy world. Nowadays, they just become cops. Check out the book Programmed to Kill. They were yet another government psyop. And then this says, sad because it's true, about the cops line. And then this anon says, the rate at which murders are being solved has drastically dropped in recent years due to the drop of policing in large cities. Unless a serial killer's modus operandi was to go around shooting gang-affiliated people in the same fashion as other gangbangers, they will likely be caught very quickly. Whenever there is a high-profile case where investigators actually pull cell records and detectives do research, there are leads very quickly. Example, the Idaho College murders. The issue is that they aren't even doing that for most of these gang-related murders because they are stretched so thin. Someone keeps sniping at me with a rifle every once in a while when I go out. Guns make it ridiculously easy to kill someone without anyone noticing. This says, no one has really mentioned that the media craze reporting serial killers has stopped. Also, mass shootings are sort of like serial killing if you think a mass shooting is just a bunch of serial murders at the same time. It's a good point. It's a very good point, and I don't really have much to add to this conversation because it seems that they have all kind of utilized their brains and came up with the thoughts that I probably would have eventually came to, but I think that's going to be it for today's video. I really just wanted to make a short video to get back into the Netsurfing series. I plan on doing more content within this series in the near future. You know, I know that I took a long break for 6 months, but I'm back, and I'm ready to make good content for you, and hopefully this counts as good content. But either way, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you like and subscribe, and if you're watching this before you go to sleep, I hope you have a great sleep, an excellent sleep for that matter, and yeah, that's going to be it. Bye-bye.